Ladies and gentlemen, it is we're live at Hallway Field, and the JV team just beat Huron 2-0 for the first for the JV game before the varsity game. Shortly thereafter, this will have the varsity game, as there is a countdown. We have about 9 minutes and 50 seconds counting down till the start of the game. So we'll take a moment and. So we don't have your music, but I can still say, ladies and gentlemen, Pioneer Women's Varsity Soccer is live and on the air. We are live from Hallway Field, where the JV team just beat the Huron JV team 2-0. Coming up in a few short minutes, 9 short minutes, we will have the varsity squads battling each other. Let's take a look at the schedules and how things have shaken out for both of these teams. Taking a look at the Pioneer varsity squad, they are 5-4-2 as they started off the season with the 2-2 tie versus Trenton. Then they beat Chelsea 4-2. They fell to Woodhaven back on April 7th. That was a 3-2 loss. They tied Seaholm in a scoreless tie, 0-0. They beat Bedford 8-0. Then they lost to Huron. That was over at Huron. That was an away game over at Riverbank Stadium back on April 14th. It was a tight game. It was a 2-1 game. So Pioneer will look to get revenge today here at home. Pioneer then lost to Skyline 2-0. Skyline, which we can talk about, are tops in the SEC Red. I don't believe they have a loss in the SEC Red so far. So Skyline playing very well so far. Pioneer fell 1-0 to Dexter. Then they beat Saline over at Saline. That was on April 26th. That was a 1-0 win. Pioneer hosted Lincoln here on the 28th and beat them 8-0. And then back on the 2nd, Pioneer was at Bedford, down at the Bedford Soccer Lacrosse Stadium, and Pioneer won that game 4-1. So 5-4-2 is Pioneer. Well, what's Huron like? Well, taking a look at Huron, the River Rats are 5-2-2, so 5-4-2, 5-2-2. So Pioneer with 2 games in hand. The River Rats started off with the tie versus Brownstown Woodhaven back on April 9th. Then they tied here. They tied Saline. That was a 0-0 score. It was 2-2 when they tied Brownstown Woodhaven, so 0-0, I should say. That was back on April 12th. Then Huron beat, we talked about them being Pioneer 2-1 at home. They beat Temperance Bedford, shutting them out 8-0. That on April 19th. Then they beat Monroe 8-0. That was on April 21st. They lost to Dexter. That was a 2-1 loss. And then they lost to Skyline 2-1. That was over at Skyline. Then they visited Ypsilanti Lincoln and won that one 10-0. And then they beat Saline 2-1 again. That was back on the 4th. So that was yesterday over at Huron. So 5-2-2 is Huron. If we take a look at the SEC Red standings, if I can, nice little wind up here. It is game time temperatures 55 degrees on a gray, cloudy day here with a little bit drizzle. We hope that it keeps itself minimal here, but we'll see what happens. Let's take a look at the SEC standings. Taking a look first at the SEC Red. Skyline is 8-0 on the season in the SEC Red. They have 24 points, leading all. That's 9 in front of Dexter, who is in second place there. They are 5-3 on the season with 15 points. Saline is right behind them. Both Saline and Huron are tied at 4-2-1 in the SEC Red. So both Saline and Huron have 13 points. Pioneer is right behind them with 12 points. So Pioneer with a win here, if Saline doesn't win, Pioneer can slip into third place with a big 2-point win here in the SEC Red. Taking a look at Monroe. Monroe has 6 points there, 2-3. Bedford 1-6. They have 3 points, and Lincoln is 0-7. Over on the white division, 11 points has the lead. That's Chelsea with they are 3-0-2. Pinckney also has 11 points. They're 3-0-2 on the SEC white. Tecumseh is 2-0-3. That's 9 points for Tecumseh. Adrian has 6 points. They're 2-3-0. Jackson is 1-1-1. They have 4 points, and Ypsilanti is 0-6-0 with no points. That's your SEC red standings. As we have about 5 minutes counting down, we will just. Stay quiet for just a little bit as we don't have the PSAs currently today, but we will get going. 4 minutes and 42 seconds counting down here at Hallway Field before we get going with today's game. Couple dips there in our hot spot, so we'll keep our fingers crossed and hope that will. We're going to hope that keeps going. If it doesn't, we'll stop and start a new broadcast hooking up to a different device. So everything is looking over in white on the back and on the front. Nice purple shorts. For those kits. Over taking a look at Huron. Huron is in their white kits. They have the numbers in dark green on the back and on the front with white shorts. As we have a nice crowd coming in, lots of folks, lots of umbrellas, as it has been a rainy spring so far, but we have hardy fans here at Pioneer, and they're all gathered up, ready to watch this game as we've counted down to double zeros, getting ready. So coming out, Leutsch being announced. Diarra being announced. Meath being announced. Ty coming out to midfield. Pagliani coming out to midfield. Peralta coming out to midfield. Hurley coming out to midfield. Deacon coming out. Sidibe coming out. Scott coming out for Huron. May coming out onto the field for Huron. Harris being announced. Solomon comes out onto the field. Simino comes out onto the field. Clyde being announced. As Sano being announced. As Cologne being announced. Morale Nair is the head coach. Assistant coach is Angela Heflin. And now for Pioneer. So Webb comes out. Krupka coming out onto the field. Lee being announced, coming out onto the field. Kramer comes out onto the field. Samaha coming out for Pioneer. Nanos comes out onto the field. Being announced is Leonard. Mahmoud being announced. Hood being announced. Tikekar being announced. Smith coming out onto the field. Paul McDonald coming out onto the field. Sleeman comes out onto the field. Powell comes out onto the field. Neubauer being announced. Auer being announced, staying out onto the field. Karsh coming out onto the field. Jackal being announced. Poppins comes out onto the field. Kuiper being announced. Kaiser heads out onto the field. And the keeper, Knox. And Campbell comes out onto the field. Now, ladies and gentlemen, down to America, the playing of the national anthem. As both teams gathered over on the far sideline, right at the inside the center circle. The far touchline and out of bounds. Karsh. Move it over. That will be Huron on the throw-in, as that's going to be Moyer who throws it down, trying to get it on the far side. Sidibe moves it, dribbling between the hash marks. Sidibe now moves it that to the center line by Pioneer. Powell trying to use her body to protect the ball. Powell trying to get it over to Lee. That brought away by Clyde. Clyde coming down the far touchline. Clyde trying to keep it inbounds as Poppins kicks it out of bounds, trying to stop the rush by Huron. 1-0. Pioneer with the lead. 29:50 left to go here in the first. As that's thrown in on the far side, Sidibe has it. Sidibe has that pulling away. Auer heading the other direction. Auer has that knocked down. Now Simone sends it over on the near touchline. Grabbed by Peralta, keeping it in. Peralta coming down, sends it into the near corner, and that will go out of bounds. That is going to be a goal kick for Pioneer. So put it on the edge of the 6. Karsh gets some room to work. 28:56 left to go here in the first. 1-0 Pioneer with the lead. Karsh blasts it downfield. Deacon has it for here on the other direction. Deacon dribbles between the hash marks. Deacon coming over to the far wing. Deacon now trying to work away around. Neubauer trying to stay in front. That comes back. Baker with it. Baker sends it on the far side. That kicked in over the center line. Bounces back towards the Pioneer goal. Baker bringing it down the numbers. That blasted the other direction by Peralta as Lee trying to pull that away. Samoan sends it back over on the far side. That will be a throw-in for Pioneer on the far touchline. As Poppins tosses it in. Now Poppins has it on the far side, brought back. Fired ahead by Moyer. Over the center line. Pioneer collects it there. Neubauer sending it ahead. Over on the far touchline is Poppins. Poppins moves it over now. Smith. Smith racing down the far touchline. Powell has it. Back. Now that need ahead. Coming down. Powell chasing it. A header back there by Hurley. Trying to get it going the other direction. Now Moyer chasing it. That goes out of bounds. As Moyer will throw it in on the far touchline. Headed up high in the air by Poppins. Now trying to race in front, Huron. Sends it down the far touchline. Now between the hash marks coming in. Knox coming and grabs it. As flashing in front was Deacon. Good job by Knox to get there first. Pioneer with the 1-0 lead. 26:52 left to go here in the first. The ball in along the near touchline now. Pulling it back. Samaha feeds it ahead to Lee. Lee moving it over to Auer. Over to Baker on the near touchlines. Trying to feed it to Powell. Powell trying to get it ahead. That knocked down. Good defensive play by Hurley for Huron. Now Huron has it in along the near side. Tie between the hash marks. Now Clyde feeds it over on the far side. Bringing it down. Between the hash marks. Picking it up is Deacon. Deacon heads back towards the center line. Now feeding it ahead. Palalina has it. Knocked down. Lee picking up. Now here comes Neubauer. Neubauer blasts it. Baker feeding it over to Powell. Powell back over to Baker, who chips it. Kind of race ahead. Smith trying to get there. That picked up and grabbed by Leutsch. Leutsch back in the 18, looking to kick this away. Leutsch, the drop kick all the way back towards center. Baker with it. Baker comes inside the numbers. Baker fires it towards the goal. Leutsch has it there. 1-0. Pioneer with the lead. The ball skied up towards the center line. Clyde had it now moving over. Here comes Deacon over the center line. Deacon coming down on the near wing. Deacon trying to feed it ahead to Sidibe. Poppins trying to get there first. Poppins on the far wing sends it down the far touchline. That'll go out of bounds. Huron ball. As Moyer on the throw-in on the far touchline. As Poppins trying to get to it. Tie over there now. Sidibe trying to avoid Neubauer. Sidibe has that knocked by Lee as that comes all the way back over to Solomon. Solomon moving back. That sent ahead by Huron. Launched high in the air. There's a head by Sidibe. Now a knee by Neubauer trying to move it over to Lee. Clyde tries to corral that with a header and moves it on the far wing. And knocked away and then blasted by Huron all the way towards the far corner. Sidibe trying to keep it inbound. Sidibe racing in towards the 18. Sidibe shot blocked. Karsh sends it towards the center line. Now on the near wing, Huron. And moving over to Peralta. Peralta down outside the numbers. Trying to get it over to Deacon. Deacon right on the near wing. That pulled away. Now Baker trying to fire it ahead. Knocked down by Peralta. Now Deacon moves it over. As that is Paglioni with it. Now feeding it ahead. Racing in. Trying to get it Clyde as Knox goes to dive for it. .23:30 left to go here in the first. Pioneer on the throw-in on the near side as that goes out of bounds. Heads towards the center line. Peralta with it there. Peralta will move it back over to Baker. Baker. That goes all the way back over, thrown in by Samaha towards the center line. Grab there. Trying to peel that away was Paul McDonald. Now blocked and moved over. Poliani had it. As that's moved ahead. Now Clyde fires it over on the far side. That knockdown. Here comes Pioneer racing ahead. Poppins feeds that over. Neubauer blasted all the way down on the near wing. Baker racing to get it. Now that's a long kick the other direction. Out of bounds. Samaha on the throw-in for Pioneer. Pioneer up 1-0. 22-14 left to go. Samaha gets it over to Powell. Powell back over to Baker on the near wing. Baker trying to avoid a pair of Huron defenders. Now Samaha trying to get it ahead. Huron starts the rush the other direction as Ty on the near wing. Ty over the center line. That comes down outside the numbers, and Clyde trying to get to it, but offside's called. 21-42 left to go here in the first. 1-0 Pioneer with the lead. Karsh will take the free kick. She will blast it all the way down. That ball in along the near side. Baker trying to corral it. Excuse me, that was Hood trying to corral it. Now Huron on the throw in. Peralta as that in along the near touch line. Out of bounds. Peralta will come over to throw it in. Over the center line. Now they'll have Peralta just on the other side of the center line. Peralta with the throw in. As that was a header by Deacon racing down. Karsh has it on the near wing. As that knocked away out of bounds. That will be Pioneer ball. 20-38 left to go. Samaha with the throw in on the near touchline. Samaha skies it back. That headed up by Duncan. Now Neubauer trying to feed it ahead. And pulled back by Paul McDonald. Now ahead. Here comes Neubauer over the center line. Neubauer feeding it, racing down. Powell trying to get to it, but Knox gets to it first. Knox with the punt. All the way down on the far wing. Grabbing it, Sidibe just our own side of the center line. Gets it ahead. Now that back over on the near side to Ty. Trying to feed it over to Clyde. And Karsh moves it over on the far side. That goes out of bounds. Sidibe. Now that will be, that'll be Moyer on the throw-in on the far touchline. 19:37 left to go. As that is launched down. And that is going to go out of bounds, out of the end line. So that should be a goal kick for Pioneer. 19:15 left to go. Here in the first, 1-0. Pioneer with the early lead. It's a goal by Baker at the 34-minute mark. Karsh back to blast the goal kick. The edge of the 6. Pulls all the way back. That headed by Baker, trying to get over to Powell. Powell trying to race ahead, trying to get in front of Hurley. Now coming over that, pulled away by Diarra. Diarra for Huron. Powell trying to separate Diarra from the ball. Now that's skied up, lobbed all the way ahead. Samaha trying to get the ball going the other direction. That knocked back by Harris. Coming ahead with it, Paul McDonald trying to pull that away. Harris for Huron. Has it. Paul McDonald trying to separate her from the ball. Moved back over on the defensive side. Diarra sends it towards the center line. That going over the center line. Now out of bounds over on the near touch line. Throwing it in is Samaha. Samaha trying to get it ahead to Baker. Baker moves it back over to Paul McDonald. Paul McDonald over to Looked like it was going to Newbar, but Hood moves it back over. Karsh over on the near side. Now that fed ahead. Over. Kramer had it. Hood with it. Feeding it on the far wing. Now coming down. Poppins trying to make a move. Cuts inside the numbers. And pulled down by Powell. Powell trying to get around two defenders. Powell feeds it back over. And knocked down. Here comes Huron with it as Deacon sends it ahead. Powell looked like she had stolen it away, but Deacon feeds it now. Pulling down on the near side is Harris. Harris into the near corner. Harris with the cross. That knocked down and skied. Good defense by Pioneer. That will go out of bounds and into the crowd. 17-11 left to go. As that ball right at the center line. And they move it over. Peralta will inbound. Peralta with the throw in as that comes back over. Now Samaha will throw it in for Pioneer. Samaha throws it over the center line on the near wing as Baker trying to battle a pair of Huron defenders. Peralta trying to pull it away from Baker. Peralta goes down. That'll go over to Huron with a free kick. Hurley with the free kick on the near wing. Hurley sends it between the hash marks as that's grabbed. Feeding it ahead is Deacon. Now Clyde into the far corner. That ball out of bounds. That will lead to a goal kick for Pioneer. As that was Ty in the far corner for the River Rats, trying to get the cross and feed it in. Karsh has it set up. Right on the edge of the 6. Karsh gets back beyond the goal line. Now Karsh rockets it all the way down right to the center line as Paul McDonald trying to pull that away. Pressure in front. Now that's sent back and out of bounds. Pioneer has possession as they'll throw it in on the near touchline. Samaha races down. Pioneer up 1-0, 15-13 left to go. Hood coming down just outside the numbers. Hood trying to get around a pair of Huron defenders. Powell now sending it back. That pulled away. Moving it ahead to Clyde. Clyde over center line. And all the way down between the hash marks as it comes into the 18. Knox picks it up there. Knox steps back. Now Knox punts it down. That bounces in along the near hash lines as Paul McDonald trying to get to it. That controlled by Huron. Now knocked away. Here comes Neubauer the other direction as Baker stole away and fed it to Neubauer. Knocked down by Hurley. Now trying to pull it away. Ty feeding it back towards her own goal. Peralta has it on the near wing. Peralta, that headed ahead. Now coming down on the near side. Clyde trying to send it ahead. Samaha trying to knock it away. Now Karsh blasts it all the way towards midfield. Coming back. Huron. Ty feeding it into the 18. That grabbed by Knox. 14:04 left to go here in the first. 1-0. Pioneer with the lead. That ball down the far wing. That's sent ahead as trying to pull it away is Powell. Blasted the other direction by the River Rats and out of bounds just shy of the center line. Poppins has it on the far wing. Poppins with the throw-in on the far touchline. That headed back. Now popped up high in the air by Poppins. That loose on the near hash marks as Paul McDonald trying to get to it. As Jekyll over there as well. That knocked out of bounds by Moyer. Just shy of the corner. Poppins with the throw-in on the far touchline. Poppins throws it in. That knocked down. Now the cross. That goes out of bounds. And along the end line off of Pioneer. That will result in a goal kick by Huron. Or it should, actually. It looks like it's going to be possibly. They're going to call that a corner? That is going to be a corner for Pioneer. As it's Poppins, number 27, to take it. Poppins. Blasts it through. That grabbed. Good job by Loesch to grab that out of midair. Excuse me, Loesch. Loesch with the punt. Right shy of the center line. Now sent back. Huron controls on their own defensive end. That gathered, trying to move it ahead. Now pulled ahead. Hurley fires it over the center line. That's sent back, picked up by Paul McDonald. Paul McDonald has that knocked away. Now here comes Ty. Ty moves it over the center line, heading towards the Pioneer zone. Knocked down. Now launched the other direction by Kramer. Powell tries to pull it away, trying to get it over to Baker. Baker keeps it from going out of bounds. Now that knocked out of bounds. Peralta right there. They're going to say that went off of Pioneer. Peralta with the throw-in. Peralta sends it towards the touchline. Ty has it. Now Neubauer trying to pull it away. Neubauer feeds it to Jekyll. Jekyll sends it down the far hash marks as Leutsch picks it up there. Leutsch, drop kick, high in the air. That bounces just shy of the center line. Neubauer sends it back over to Karsh. Karsh blocks it with the body, fires it over on the far wing. Trying to knock it down. Still trying to spin over there is Hood. Hood trying to get it over to Jekyll. Jekyll, that popped off of a Huron defender, trying to get it into the attacking third. Now that lifted all the way back. That'll be stopped before it goes out of the end line by Leutsch. Leutsch has it just inside the 18. Drop kicks it all the way. Spinning ball towards the center line. Samaha trying to pull that away. Now Paul McDonald feeds it over. Collected by Huron. Bringing it up the far wing as that's launched by Solomon. All the way down. Poppins trying to knock it away. As right there was Meath providing pressure. That will be a throw-in for Huron. As Moyer will throw it in on the far touchline. Moyer sends it back towards the far corner. And stopped there. Trying to knock it away is Neubauer. Now racing back. Jekyll trying to pull that away from Meath. Jekyll and Meath battling it along the far touchline. That knocked over the center line all the way back. Huron trying to collect it into their defensive third. Now that fed ahead by Hurley in along the near wing. Over the center line. That fed ahead. Now Peralta had it. That knocked out of bounds as Neubauer blocked Peralta's blast. 9:28 left to go here in the first. 1-0 is the Pioneer lead. Peralta on the near touchline with the throw-in. As Peralta throws it in. That ball over. Bringing Ed, launched all the way down. Baker inside the attacking third. That brought back into the middle third. Samaha will throw it in on the near touchline. Samaha with the throw-in. That grab, pulling it down is Hood. Hood feeding it over to Neubauer. Neubauer between the hash marks. Neubauer sends it on the far wing. That knockdown, Meath had it. Meath and Jekyll collided. That is going to be a free kick for Huron. That's going to be Moyer to take the free kick. 8:30 left to go. Moyer sends it into the attacking third. Coming ahead with it between the hash marks is Clyde. Clyde has Karsh in front of her. Karsh trying to make it difficult to get further into the zone. That pulled back as racing to get it. Collected and fed ahead, trying to get it over to Peralta. Peralta coming down the near wing. Now Baker trying to separate her. Baker trying to keep that ball and go out of bounds, and it was off of Huron. So Baker able to use her body not let Huron get to the ball. That turns over to Pioneer's ball as Paul McDonald sends it back. That launched all the way over the center line. Powell has it on the near wing. Powell moves it back over to Paul McDonald. Paul McDonald with a feed between the hash marks. That blasted away as Jekyll was trying to get to it. Headed by Deacon. Now coming down to get it is Karsh. Karsh launches it the other direction, high up in the air, as that was headed by Diarra back into the far corner. Moyer trying to get to it. That goes out of bounds. That will be Pioneer with the throw-in on the far wing. Now coming in for the throw-in. As that's going to be Tikekar with the throw-in on the far side. Trying to get to it. Hood hops up in the air, trying to head it. Powell has it just on the end line into the far corner. Powell trying to make her way around Diarra. Back with the cross. Hood trying to get to it. Knocked away by the Huron defense and launched all the way down the field. Karsh trying to pick it up just shy of the center line. Karsh blasts it all the way back down, trying to get it to Baker as that comes, and that will roll over the end line. That will result in a goal kick as Loist will grab it. 6:10 left to go here in the first. 1-0 Pioneer with the lead over rival, the Huron River Rats. Huron won the first game between these two teams over at Riverbank Stadium, as that is blasted all the way down. Headed back the other direction by Hood. Knocked down. Here comes Huron as Deacon has it. Deacon on the near wing fires it over center line. Now heading in. Knox grabs it right on the edge of the 18. Knox with the drop kick. High up in the air as trying to pull that away. Coming down the far side is Hood. Hood feeds it all the way ahead. Baker sends it back just over midfield. Battle for it on the near wing. Poppins trying to get to it. That goes out of bounds. And she was over there with Harris. Off of Pioneer, so Peralta will throw it. Inbounded on the near, with the throw-in on the near touchline. As Clyde trying to bring it between the hash marks. Clyde racing down. Clyde with the shot, and Knox with the save. Good job by Knox to get in front of it. Good shot by Clyde. But Knox an even better save. 4:46 left to go. 1-0 Pioneer with the lead, but a solid chance for the River Rats. Deacon pops it up high in the air. Battle for it on the far wing as Tikekar had it over on the far side. There'll be a throw-in by the River Rats. Tikekar trying to get it now. Karsh trying to knock it the other direction. That goes out of bounds off of Karsh. Huron with the throw-in. That'll be Moyer on the far touchline to throw that in. Moyer. That knocked away by Karsh. Paul McDonald has it. That tipped away. Comes back. Battle for it as Pioneer battling in their defensive third. Center cross. That comes all the way over into the near corner. As Poppins trying to grab it. That goes out of bounds. That will be off of Pioneer. As Poppins trying to let it go out of bounds before she touched it. Now Peralta will inbound it. Played off of the body, now trying to move it over. That deflected off of Peralta, out of bounds. Pioneer with the throw-in. 3:35 left to go in the first half. That launched all the way down as Powell feeds it back over to Baker. Baker trying to fire it. That pulled back away by Deacon. Deacon right at the center line. Deacon for the River Rats trying to move it the other direction. Jekyll trying to steal that away. Collision. Now here comes Hood. Hood inside the numbers. Moves it ahead. Here comes Paul McDonald. That back over to Neubauer. Neubauer between the hash marks. Neubauer trying to make it and get around Paglioni. That brought back the other direction. Coming down into the far corner, here's the River Rats. Karsh gets in front and knocks that away. As Karsh with a collision with Clyde over on the far side. Clyde slow to get up, but she pops up and she looks like she's all right. 2 minutes, 40 seconds left to go. Pioneer up 1-0. As they go chase, the ball ended up back behind the all the other nets on the far side. As that is Moyer to throw it in. Moyer on the throw in. Trying to pull it down. Tikakar trying to get it. That goes out of bounds, out of the end line. As that is going to be a corner for Huron. As that is going to be, that moved over as sent ahead, knocked down. As that was Moyer over there. The ball sent back on the far touchline, out of bounds. Pioneer will throw it in on the far touchline. Jekyll sends it ahead. As that goes down on the far wing as Hurley pops it up high in the air. Powell heads it, moving down on that far wing. Powell trying to pull that away from Hurley as they battle in along the far touchline in the Pioneer attacking third. It moved back over as Tikakar with the throw in. That launched up high in the air. Knocked down by Meath. Pioneer controls as Neubauer sends it. That between the hash marks, trying to get it is Paul McDonald. Now coming over, Poppins with the shot and grabbing it. Oh boy, Pioneer with a good chance. Powell racing over, hoping that Leutsch misses it, but Leutsch with a good job grabbing that. Good chance by Pioneer. That headed right over the center line, down the far touch line, down on the far wing. Battle for it, that pulled back over. Meath sends it back towards the center. Now Solomon over to Peralta. Peralta on the near wing. Peralta feeding it into the attacking third for Huron. Deacon trying to make a move as Neubauer pops it up in the air. That goes out of bounds. And I believe that went off of a Huron player. Indeed, it did. Pioneer with the throw-in on the far wing. Now coming ahead with it, Hood, as that went off of a Huron player. Still. And that is the end of the first half. So Pioneer with the lone goal in the first half. That was Brown in the 34th minute. We'll step away for a brief moment as here at halftime, and we will be right back with second half action. As we are counting down 6 minutes, 51 seconds left to go here at halftime. Normally you have a little bit of music, but we're trying to get a new system going here where at some point we can hopefully add multiple cameras. So working with new technology is always fun, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up the MHSAA site and let us come in and let's do a little bit of a intermission scoreboard report and take a look at some women's soccer scores as we come up and pull this up. So taking a look at scores from this week from women's soccer, and you can always go up to the MHSAA website to find scores as we take a look. Coming over as it was Adrian Lenawee Christian beating Springport 2-0. That back on Monday. Also Monday it was a 0-0 0-0 tie between Algonic and Armanda as Alginen beat Dowagic 5-0. It was Allendale beating Fruitport 2-0. Almont beat North Branch 2-0. It ended up in a 2-2 tie between Battle Creek Lakeview and Manawan. It was Battle Creek Benfield taking out Olivet 4-0. Also on the second, it was Bay City Central falling to Saginaw Heritage 5-1. It was Freeland beating Bay City John Glenn 8-2. Bay City Western shut out Flint Cameron Ainsworth 8-0. It was Grand Rapids North Point Christian beating Blending 8-0. Big Rapids with the 1-0 score over Howard City Tri-County. Bloomfield Hills beat South Lyon East 5-3. It was St. Joseph's Lutheran battling Bridgman, and St. Joseph's Lutheran won that one 4-1. As Auburn Hills Oakland Christian beat Brighton Cheryl Stockwell Prep 7-1. Also on the second, it was Brownstown Woodhaven beating Gibraltar Carlson 2-1. Buckley beat Kingsley 4-0. It was Byron beating Perry by a score of 1-0. Byron Center beat Grand Rapids Christian 4-1. It was Riverview shutting out Carlton Airport 6-0. It was Caro beating Unionville Subwaying 6-3. Lansing Eastern beat the Carlson City Crystal 5-1. It was Cedar Springs beating Grand Rapids Catholic Central 3-2. Harbor Springs beat Charlevoix 2-0. It was St. Clair taking out Clawson 3-1. It was 8-0 Clinton over Blissfield back on the second. Fraser beat Clinton Township Chippewa Valley 4-1. It was Comstock beating Bangor 8-0. Granville Calvin Christian beat Comstock Park 5-0. It was Richmond taking out Croswell Lexington 4-3. Garden City and Dearborn Heights Crestwood ended up in a 1-1 tie. It was Oxford 6-0 over Detroit Country Day. Detroit Western beat Detroit Cesar Chavez Academy 8-0. It was DeWitt beating Holt for 2-1. Excuse me. It was Grand Rapids Forest Hills Eastern beating East Grand Rapids 5-2. Also on the second, it was East Lansing beating Grand Ledge 2-1. Edgeworthburg and Pawpaw ended up in a tie. It was Fenville and Holland Black River in a 1-1 tie. Fenton beat Flint Kersley 6-3. It was Flint Powers Catholic beating Mount Pleasant 4-0. Flushings won the game over Orton Brandville 4-1. It was Frankenmuth topping Alma 4-0. Newaygo beat Fairmount by a score of 1-0. It was Otisville Lakeville Memorial falling to Genesee Christian 3-1. Davison blanked Grand Blanc 2-0. It was Aiden Forest Hills Eastern 7-1 over Grand Rapids Kenwa Hills. Grand Rapids South Christian put it on Grand Rapids Ottawa Hill 12-0. It was Spring Lake beating Grand Rapids West Catholic 5-0. It ended up in a 2-2 tie between Grant and Lakeview. Boyne City beat Grayland 2-1. It was Grand Rapids Northview 6-0 over Greenville. Grosse Ile beat Flat Rock 8-0. It was Utica Eisenhower with a 1-0 win over Grosse Pointe North. We'll take a break here. It's your intermission scoreboard report. We'll step away for the next minute and 20 seconds, and we will be right back with your second half action as you are watching Pioneer Women's Varsity Soccer taking on Huron. Pioneer with the 1-0 lead here at halftime. As we are counting down 15 seconds before we get going with the second half, as they're about to put 40 minutes up on the board. Now, the last time Pioneer was able to beat Huron here at Hallway Field, it was 2017. So it's been a little bit. Pioneer up 1-0, but 40 minutes up, ready to get go on the clock. As also one of the Huron players, as it is Teresa Moyer. She played on a travel soccer team with plenty of the Pioneer players, so very familiar with each other. Moyer played a lot with Powell and 6 other Pioneer players, so a lot of these players very familiar with each other, played with each other for a long time. The ball set right at inside the center circle. Powell comes in. As Pioneer now going from left to right here in the second half. Powell waiting for the whistle. There it is, Powell. Sends it back. Neubauer between the hash marks. Neubauer over to Karsh. Karsh feeds it over on the far wing as that's sent ahead. Trying to get to it. That blasted ahead by Hour. Has that knocked away towards center. Picking it up Lee. Lee feeding it on the far wing. That pulled away. Now coming ahead. Hour feeds it over to Neubauer. Neubauer trying to pick it up. Sidibe grabbing it there. Sidibe feeds it over on the far wing. Now pulling it ahead is Harris. Now Harris coming down outside the far hash marks. Gets it into the attacking third for Huron. As that over on the far sideline. With the cross. That grabbed by Knox. Knox heads out to the edge of the 18. Now Knox with the drop kick. That up high in the air. Knocked down, racing over on the near side, trying to get that is Lee. Lee feeds it back over to Karsh. Karsh their own defensive third. Gets it over on the far side, over to Kramer. Kramer moving it on the far touchline. That brought back. Here comes Karsh. Karsh trying to move it around Sidibe. Now coming down on the near side. Here comes Pioneer as that's blasted ahead by Poppins. Down the near wing. Pulling it. Krupka trying to feed it ahead. Here comes Powell. Powell moves into the attacking third. Powell comes back. Powell has that tipped away. Out of bounds as Diarra knocks that out of bounds. Poppins will inbound on the near touchline. 38-20 left to go. Poppins Now with the throw-in. As Powell trying to move it back over. Krupka has it. Krupka trying to get it on a cross. That knocked down. As trying to come just outside the 18. Move back over to Krupka. Krupka over to Poppins on the near wing. Now there's a cross by Krupka. That pulled away. Headed the other direction. It's Ty. Ty sends it towards center. Gathered in there by Clyde. Clyde blasted all the way down, racing ahead to try and get to it is Kramer. Kramer trying to knock it down. Collision. As Knox went down, as she is down on the ground as there was a collision. So timeout called for an injury, that at 37-31. As the trainers come over and look at Knox. Knox racing over to get the ball in a heavy collision. About 4 yards inside the 18, and Knox went down hard. The ball was shot in afterwards, but I believe that didn't count due to, I believe there's a foul on the play, but as Knox laying on her back over inside the 18-yard penalty box as they're working on her. It's a drop down as the temperature was just under 60 degrees at game time. It is now 54 and rainy. We haven't had too many games this spring that haven't had some participation as well, but rain is what I'm trying to say. It will not come out properly for me, so that's fine. Every once in a while, the mouth won't pronounce what you want it to. As the trainers continue to work. Knox now sitting up. We're happy to see that. As Knox up and standing, we're very, very happy to see that. She is being walked off the field, but it looks like she is walking under her own power. So again, very, very happy to see Knox being able to come off the field under her own power. You'd love to see all these players play their absolute guts out and play as hard as they can. You just never want to see any of these wonderful, amazing athletes injured. As new goalkeeper in for Pioneer, number 80. I don't have that on my roster, but I'm pretty sure someone just threw another jersey on. That hopped up high in the air. Over on the near side, here comes Krupka. Krupka has that pulled away by Sidibe. Sidibe trying to come over center. That launched down as we're now clock counting down. Is trying to pull it away on the far side is Clyde. Clyde feeds it ahead. Knocked down. Trying to pull it away on the far side is Auer. That launched all the way onto the Huron side. Moyer has it. Powell coming right behind her, and that's grabbed by Lloyd. Lloyd inside the 18. There is another player down. This time a Huron player collapsed just inside the Huron defensive third. At 36:45, so again we'll stop the clock at 36:45 as the trainers come out and take a look. As that is Solomon, who is down, and we hope Solomon's all right. She's sitting up, and the trainer working with her. Well, what's up next for Pioneer? After this, taking a look, is after this game, Pioneer will be away at Skyline. That will be on the 7th. Solomon is up and walking off under her own power. We're very happy to see that. So again, that is going to be on the 7th. So that should be Saturday. That's a 12:30 game over at Skyline. So come over, cheer the team on. As 36:45 up on the clock, waiting for things to get set as Loit has the ball in the 18. Loit kicks it away. We're back underway. That ball outside on the far wing now between the hash marks coming ahead. Neubauer feeds it. Now Powell trying to pull it away right at the edge of the attacking third. Neubauer pops it up high in the air as a battle for it. Far on the far wing. Trying to move around his hour. Trying to get ahead to Brown. Brown now coming inside the numbers. Brown with a shot that grabbed by Loit. Loit sidesteps the edge of the 18, now kicks it ahead. That ball bounces, grabbed by Sidibe. Sidibe trying to make her way between the hash marks. Powell has it. Powell has that knocked away over there by Ty as Lee trying to pull it. That knocked away from Lee and then sent back into the Pioneer attacking third. Back into the midfield area. That moved over on the far wing, coming down Peralta. Peralta sends it down the far touchline. That blasted all the way back into the Pioneer defensive third. Karsh races over to get it. That grabbed by the Pioneer goalkeeper. As the keeper kicks it away. And over on the near side, Sidibe pops it up in the air. Now that headed ahead by Poppins. Battle for it on the near wing outside the near numbers. Sidibe tries to turn the corner. Sidibe heads back. There's a cross that popped up and out of bounds. Moyer with the throw-in on the near touchline. That over to Sidibe. Sidibe trying to use her body to protect the ball. Sidibe with the cross. That popped up high in the air, back out of bounds. 34:55 left to go here in the second. As that ball popped up high, Pioneer with a backup goaltender. Knox went off after a collision early in this period. That cross goes just too wide. Couldn't make it. As trying to hold it in on that far side was Huron, and they couldn't quite keep it in. And thrown in by Samaha on the far side. Now trying to bring it ahead. That headed by Auer. Now back into the Pioneer defensive third. Trying to pull that away is Auer. Now sent ahead by Samaha. Back over. Popped up high in the air. Trying to get it as Krupka. Krupka trying to get to it before it goes out of bounds. Not able to. That'll be a throw-in for Huron as Moyer tosses it towards the Pioneer goal. That deflected back out of bounds. Moyer will throw in on the near touchline again. Moyer looks to her left. It's 33:54 left to go here in the second. Ball between the hash marks, trying to get to it. Neubauer battling Clyde. Neubauer makes a move. Neubauer feeds it head over center, then blasted the other direction by Semeno. And knocked down Krupka on the near wing. Krupka keeps it from going out of bounds, sending it. That picked up. Now going the other direction is Lee. Pioneer. Lee feeds it ahead as Baker trying to get to it. Baker, the lone goal scorer of this game. Back over to Lee. Lee has it Now that knocked away back into the middle third area. Picked up. Lee has it there between the hash marks. Feeds it in along the far side. That's sent out of bounds. Baker trying to get to it. Now that will be a throw in by Baker. Baker will leave it over there as Samaha will throw it in. Howard just to her right, Baker to her left. Samaha on the throw-in on the far touchline. Gets it back over to Neubauer. Neubauer keeping it in bounds. Nope, not quite able to. That will go over to Huron on the far touchline. As Deacon with the throw-in. Trying to pull that away, battle for it. That launched all the way down as Samaha was doing a good job trying to grab that one. Karsh sends it the other direction. Out of bounds on the far touchline. Again, that will be Huron to throw the ball in. As that launched. Trying to pull it ahead. In between. Sent that, grabbed and diving. Able to cover it up. Pioneers backup goaltender. Don't have a name as it's number 80, and I don't have that on my roster. Sent all the way down over the center line. Huron trying to get it back going the other direction. Here comes Neubauer. Neubauer over the center line. Neubauer sending it down the hash marks on the far side. That tip back to Lee. Lee feeding it ahead. Trying to pull it ahead is Baker. Baker comes between the hash marks. Baker coming in. Baker with the shot. That grabbed. Good job by Loit. Loit moves to the edge of the 18 and punts it away. Neubauer kicks it, sends it over on the far wing. Picked up on the far wing. And sent ahead by Auer. Auer trying to get it over to Baker. Baker can't quite keep it in bounds. That with the throw in. Now Clyde trying to pull that away. Auer has it. Auer over to Powell. Powell sends it back to Lee. Lee moves it over to Samaha on the far touchline. Samaha sends it between the hash marks. Poppins trying to get it. Sidibe going the other direction for Huron. Sidibe coming down. She fires it ahead. That all the way back into the Pioneer 18. That grabbed by the Pioneer tender, by the Pioneer keeper. That kicked ahead. The ball bounces, racing for it. Sidibe trying to get around Lee. Lee trying to knock that away as they both battle for the ball in along the near touchline. Sidibe pulls away. Poppins trying to keep in front of her with the slide tackle. Poppins ends up on the ground. That grabbed away as the Pioneer keeper has it. Now there's the kick. So Kuiper in between the pipes. That pulled ahead. Here comes. There's a shot. Kuiper diving as it's not quite out of bounds. And then a shot and putting it in. Huron scores as trying to catch. I believe that was number 15 over there, Harris, who put it in. It is 1-1 now. 29:56 left to go. Now Powell sends it back to Neubauer. Neubauer bringing Ebb for Pioneer. Neubauer moving it on the near side, then gets it back. Neubauer sends on the near wing. That will be a throw-in by Moyer on the near touchline. Moyer tosses it down the near touchline. Poppins gets in front, goes out of bounds. Moyer will again. A little further down, right into the attacking third. Moyer with the throw-in. As Poppins trying to get to it, that headed by Clyde and out of bounds. That should be a goal kick by Pioneer. As Kuiper over to get the ball. 1-1 is our score, 29:09 left to go here in the second. Pioneer scored early in the game, within the first 6 minutes of the game. Huron answered back at the 29-minute inside the 29-minute mark of the second half. That launched all the way towards the center line. Pulled down. Krupka with it. Krupka trying to get to it. That knocked down. Krupka still with it, trying to get around Ty. Now that pulled down by Diarra. That goes out of bounds off of Diarra. Moving it back. Poppins with the throw in. Now that launched by Lee, and that will go out of bounds off of the end line. That will be a goal kick as Lloyd will move it back in, and Moyer to kick it away. Lloyd moves it. Moyer gets it set on the edge of the 6. 28:09 left to go. Moyer boots it away. That ball lifted back, trying to get to it, pulling it away. That Lee has it for Pioneer. Lee setting ahead, knocked away. Good defensive play by Huron. As over there, that was Solomon, who was injured earlier, so glad to see she's out and doing well. 27:38 left to go. As on the throw-in on the far wing. And over the center line. Out of bounds, Samaha on the throw-in. On the far touchline, Samaha. Throws it in. That kicked out of bounds. As that was Harris sending it out of bounds. Harris, the goal scorer for Huron. Pioneer again with the throw-in on the far touchline. As racing into the far corner, Powell trying to get to it. That goes out of bounds first. As that is going to be a corner for Pioneer. As it looks like our number 21 is going to take the corner in the far corner. Pioneer would love to get a goal off of this set piece. That popped up high. Karsh with the header. Now that kicked away. Now another header by Pioneer towards Powell trying to pull that away. Now that blasted down between the hash marks. Huron still in their defensive third. Now Sidibe moves it into the middle third. Samaha sends it the other direction for Pioneer. That goes out of bounds for the far touchline. Huron with the throw-in, as that is Peralta. 1-1 is our score. 25:55 left to go. As the ball over on the far wing, that goes out of bounds right in front of the Pioneer bench. The throw-in with Huron. Popped up high in the air, trying to get to it. Clyde sends it ahead as Kuiper grabs it inside the 18, kicks it away. As that heads, stopped right before the center line, coming ahead. Clyde, as her pass got stolen away. Here comes Pioneer. Neubauer right at the center line. Neubauer heads back, trying to get a little room to work. Neubauer sends it ahead. Now that pulled down. Coming ahead with it, as that was Baker. Baker over on the far side. Krupka with a shot. Good chance for Pioneer. That one just went wide to the near side. 24:57 left to go. Moyer, again, will kick it away on the goal kick. That ball on the near sideline. Here comes Poppins. Poppins with the cross. Trying to get it down. Oh, good defensive play by Huron as it comes up the field. That ball on the far wing. And a whistle. 24:20 left to go here in the second half. Free kick for Pioneer. Karsh will take it. She is about 12 yards on her own side of the center line. Karsh fires it down. That's a header coming on the far wing. Samaha trying to pull that away. Fired ahead by Harris. Now coming down, tipped away on that far wing, out of bounds. Peralta with the throw-in on the far touchline. Peralta, as that's kicked over the head, out of bounds. That will be off of Huron, as that was Ty trying to feed it ahead. Samaha with the throw-in. Peralta on the far wing trying to get to it. Baker comes away with it. Baker coming down the far touchline. Baker with the cross, as that's kicked away by Diarra. Now on the far wing, Howard trying to get to it. That goes out of bounds off of Huron. Samaha with the throw-in on the far touchline. Samaha moves it back over to Neubauer. Neubauer inside the attacking third. A high cross, bounces. Oh, Krupka looking for it, and it just bounced over Krupka. That on the near wing, trying to keep it in bounds. Over there was Meath. And coming ahead all the way down towards Pioneer, out of bounds. Karsh will run and grab it. Sidibe was hoping to get that before it went out of bounds. Now Poppins on the near touchline with the throw-in. Poppins throws it towards the center line. That goes over the center line and bounces. Powell has it. Powell trying to come down on that far wing. Powell trying to avoid pressure. That knocked away by Deacon and fed ahead. Neubauer grabs it on her own side of the center line. Feeds it ahead to Powell. Powell trying to get back over. Now that fed ahead. Knocked down by Deacon. Auer trying to get to it. Auer has it right on the blockades. Moves that back on the far wing. Samaha. Samaha with a crossover. Knocked away from Auer, racing all the way down to get to it. Sidibe on the far side. Sidibe with the cross. That goes just wide to the near side. A really good chance for Huron. We are 1-1 here in the second. 21-35. It should result in a goal kick for Pioneer as someone goes to find one of the balls. That ball set right at the edge of the 6. Karsh comes back to blast it away. Karsh all the way down, trying to get to it. Here comes Powell with it. Powell trying to get away from Diarra. Powell on that far wing, knocked away. Now coming back. Here comes Deacon. Deacon has that stolen away. Pioneer racing down. Neubauer trying to get to Krupka, but that was stopped as a good defensive play by Diarra. Now here comes Huron down the near wing. Gets it into the attacking third. Meath with it between the hash marks. Popped up high in the air. That will go out of bounds off of Pioneer. Quickly on the throw-in, Moyer. Now Poppins pops it up high in the air. That was ahead by Krupka. Controlled. Fed between the hash marks. Ty has it for Huron. Now Hood trying to knock it away. Ty coming down outside the numbers. Ty now trying to head back. Feeds it back over. That launched on the far sideline. Knocked down. Here comes Pioneer with it. And is trying to get it over to Samaha. Samaha on the far wing over to Baker. Baker makes her way over the center line. Baker trying to get past the defender. That comes back over to Auer. Auer between the hash marks. Auer moves it ahead. Krupka trying to feed it over to Hood. Hood with a cross. Hood was looking for Baker, and that was just behind Baker. Launched down the far wing by Huron and out of play. 19:30 left to go. Samaha with the throw-in on the far touchline. 1-1 is our score. 19-16 left to go. The ball in along the far touchline, out of bounds. Baker calling for it to be Pioneer ball. Samaha with the throw-in. Samaha. That header pops up high in the air. Trying to launch it over on the near side was Jekyll. Now here comes Neubauer. Neubauer trying to avoid the defensive pressure. That comes back into the middle third. Now it's sent back ahead. Racing to get it. That goes out of bounds. Peralta will pull it up over on that far side. 18:35 left to go. 1-1 is our score. Peralta on the far sideline. Peralta with the throw-in. Now, that's sent ahead by Pioneer. Ball gathered in on the far side. Bringing ahead is Harris. Harris launches it over the center line. Karsh with it there. Karsh moving it over to Neubauer. Neubauer over the center line, trying to get it back to Karsh. Karsh feeds it down the near wing, knocked away before Jekyll could get to it. Now kicked the other direction, pulled ahead by Clyde. Clyde for Huron. Races between the hash marks into the attacking third. That shot, just goes wide as Kuiper, in for the injured Knox, dove for it. And it just went to the left-hand side of the post. Just barely missing the woodwork over there. Kuiper has it set for the goal kick. Karsh comes back to blast it away. 17:25 left to go. Karsh launches it all the way down the field. Hood trying to add it. Coming back, controlled by Clyde for Huron. Clyde moving it down the near wing, trying to keep it inbounds is Deacon. Can't quite do it. That goes out of bounds. That will be Pioneer ball. As the ball on the throw-in, trying to get to it. Hood. Whistle. Free kick for Clyde. They actually have both Clyde and Moyer there. Pioneer forms the wall. As here comes Moyer, and Moyer fakes it. That popped up high in the air and goes out of bounds, so Moyer faked it. Clyde took it. That will result in a goal kick for Pioneer. 15:50 left to go here in the second. 1-1 is our score. And Pioneer scored within the first 6 minutes of the first half. At the 29-minute mark of the second half, Huron able to answer back. Blasted by Karsh all the way towards the center line. Now in along the near wing, popped up high in the air by Moyer. Trying to pull it away. Clyde heads it for Huron down the near side. Poppins loses an edge. That knocked down by Karsh. Karsh coming on the near sideline. Karsh in a collision there with Moyer. As out of bounds off of Pioneer, Moyer pops it in. Now Karsh puts it out of bounds. Again, Moyer having played with several of the Pioneer players on the travel team, so well known by many of these players. Moyer with the throw-in on the near touchline. Moyer gets it over to Deacon. Deacon back to Moyer. Moyer with the cross. That inside the 18. Good job by Kuiper to race over and get it. As racing in is Harris, the lone goal scorer for Huron, and good job by Kuiper to grab it before Harris could get it. Quickly knocked the other direction. Here comes Sidibe for Huron. Sidibe coming down the far side. Sidibe with the shot, and just getting hands on it was Kuiper. Excellent job to steer that wide. Or did she touch it? She might not have. That's going to result in, it looks like, a goal kick. That shot just wide by Huron. 13:58 left to go. as Karsh will bring it back to the edge of the 6. Now Karsh launches it downfield. That ball bounces just on the Pioneer side of the center line. Now launched the further down, trying to get to it. That ball loose. Now Powell in along the near side. Powell feeds it over to Poppins. Poppins coming down the near wing. Poppins back over to Powell. Powell gets into the attacking third. And out of bounds. Huron with the throw-in on the near wing. Moyer. Moyer with the throw-in. That headed the other direction by Poppins. Now Jekyll headed ahead by Hood as Powell goes over a Huron player. She's down on the ground. The ball on the far wing. Powell's back up, walking a little gingerly. Over on the far side, here comes Pioneer on the far wing, feeding it ahead, trying to get to Hood. That knocked away. Here comes Ty for Huron the other direction. Jekyll trying to get to it. That is going to turn into a free kick for Huron. As they'll say, Jekyll got the player, not the ball. Here comes Moyer, who kicks it away. That launched all the way down, knocked down by Karsh. That comes over to Clyde. Clyde between the hash marks. Clyde inside the attacking third shot. And boy, that hit off of the field goal post. So just over the crossbar. Kuiper doing a good job as she's put in a tough situation due to a collision that knocked Knox out of the game. Never an easy position to be in. 11:54 left to go. Karsh blasts it downfield. Trying to pull it away now. That ball fed back over. Pioneer coming ahead with it is Kramer. Kramer feeding it. And sent ahead. Trying to pull it is Hood. Hood has it knocked away. Into the attacking third comes Huron. Clyde has it between the hash marks. Neubauer trying to stay in front of her. Clyde with the shot that goes just wide to the near side. Kuiper going over to get it. Ball set. On the edge of the 6, there's a blast by Karsh. Then goes over the center line, knocked down there. Coming ahead with it, here comes Huron. As that's moved over to Sidibe. Sidibe into the attacking third. Sidibe feeds it down on the far wing. Here's a cross. As racing over to get to it. That fed ahead by Poppins. Now here comes Hood. Hood trying to get it over the center line. That knocked down and moved over on the far side as Poliani had it. Now Karsh has a free kick on the far side. That at the 10:08 mark, still 1-1. Pioneer with a goal in the first half. Rain looks like it's starting to come down again. There's lots of umbrellas out here for the fans. Paul McDonald trying to get to it. That's sent by Huron right to center. Sidibe coming down the far wing. Samaha trying to knock that away. That goes out of bounds. That is going to be off of Pioneer. So Peralta launches it with the throw in. Kramer heads that out of bounds. 9:30 left to go. 1-1 is our score. The ball on the far wing. Deacon with the cross. Now there's a shot by Harris. That goes just wide to the far side. Huron with a number of chances here. 9:06 left to go here in the second. Ball set at the edge of the 6. Karsh Gets back to the goal line. Now Karsh comes off and boots it away. That goes just shy of midfield. Paul McDonald moves it over on the far wing. That brought back. Here comes Neubauer for Pioneer. Neubauer feeds it ahead. Powell trying to get to it. Knocked the other way by Huron. Now that comes over on the near wing. Poppins pulls it away, trying to get around Clyde. Now over to Paul McDonald. Paul McDonald battling one of the Huron players. That comes back. Now that fed into the near corner. Moyer trying to get to it before Jekyll can. And now Moyer just kicks it out of bounds. Poppin has it on the near touchline. Poppin with the throw-in. Poppin over to Jekyll. Jekyll trying to get around a pair of Huron defenders. That popped up high in the air. Headed towards center. Now trying to grab it on the far side. Samaha as it bounces. Kicked the other direction by Lee. Hood racing for it. Now Jekyll trying to get to it. That knocked over on the near wing. Moyer. Moyer collided with Hood down there. That results in a free kick for Huron as Moyer will take it. As that's launched downfield, tipped as that comes in. Sidibe racing to get it. That's going to be an offsides. That'll go over to Pioneer. 7:05 left to go here in the second. 1-1 is our score. Here comes Karsh with the free kick. Karsh launches it downfield. Bounces between the hash marks into the 18. That picked up. Leutsch has it. Leut now with the punt. As Paul McDonald heads it. Over on the far wing. Here comes Sidibe with it. Sidibe racing down on the far wing. Croft trying to get it. Nice job over there by Kramer to make sure that Sidibe couldn't get a good cross on that far wing. That is going to lead to a corner for Huron, I believe. Well, no, it looks like it's going to be a throw-in. So Peralta has it on the far wing. Peralta tosses it. Loose trying to get to it. As still pulling it away is Baker. Baker trying to avoid pressure, trying to get it over on the near wing to Pop it. Pop it. Blast it down the near wing over to Jekyll. Jekyll right at the center line. Jekyll trying to get around Moyer. Jekyll cuts to her left. Now coming down the near touchline. Jekyll feeds it that into the 18. Racing and getting it is Leut. Leut with the punt. Launches it. Neubauer heads it back towards the Huron goal. That loose on the far wing is over there battling is Pagliani. Launched down the far sideline, racing over to get it is Kramer. That knocked out of bounds. That should be a goal kick, and it will be. Ball set on the edge of the 6. Karsh gets some room to work. 4:48 left to go. 1-1 is our score. Karsh blasts it down the field. As that's great by Powell. Powell goes into the attacking third. Powell has that go off of a defender. Now Peralta over on the far wing, outside the numbers. Peralta coming down on the far wing. Peralta feeds it ahead. Deacon with it. Deacon goes between the hash marks. Now feeds it over on the near wing over to Moyer. Moyer moves it into the middle third. Coming ahead with it is Clyde. Clyde gets it over into the attacking third for Huron. Here comes Sidibe. Sidibe trying to get between the hash marks. Sidibe with the shot. That goes just wide to the near side. Sidibe trying to catch that near corner. Just ended up on the other side of the woodwork there. 3:51 left to go. Here in the second half, 1-1 is our score. Pioneer would love to find a way to get a goal here. They haven't beaten Huron here at Hallway Field since 2017. Here comes Neubauer battling over there with Harris. Now that comes back, fed over and along the near wing as Poppins sends it. Now here comes Harris. Harris feeds ahead to Sidaba. That knocked back. Here comes Paul McDonald. Paul McDonald all the way ahead. Now here comes Powell. Powell into the attacking third. Powell over on the near wing. Powell trying to feed it ahead, trying to get it over to Jekyll. Good defensive play over there by Solomon to knock it out of bounds. Now, I thought that was off of Solomon. But obviously, there we go. It's going to be a corner. I was thoroughly confused by that, but that doesn't take much. It's going to be 21 hour. Hour gets set up for the corner. Pioneer hoping for a big set piece here as out in front trying to get to a Neubauer. Now that pulled away. Here comes Huron as they get that into the middle third. Sidibe coming ahead with it. That knocked back the other direction. Good job by Kramer. As the ball comes outside the hash marks on the far wing. Coming ahead with it, Peralta. Peralta goes over the center line. Peralta trying to get it ahead again to Sidibe. Now Poppins has it. Poppins chips it on the near sideline. That goes out of bounds. That will be Huron on the throw-in. Moyer with the throw-in on the near touchline. That knocked down by Clyde. Clyde trying to get around the Pioneer defense. Poppins with the slide tackle. Clyde goes down. Moyer helps Clyde up. As that's going to be a free kick in the attacking third. Clyde gets it bending, and a good job by Kuiper. Kuiper watched the bend and came over and grabbed it. Now Kuiper kicks it away. Poppins has it. Poppins trying to get it out of the defensive third. Feeds it ahead. Here comes Pioneer as Auer launches it down the near wing. Coming to get it is Jekyll. Jekyll on the cross. Now coming in. That shot and a score! They blew a whistle, so Brown looking for a second score, but a whistle blown. So no goal. That goes over to Huron. I believe that was an offsides call. No goal. That's sent ahead. Good chance by Pioneer. Here comes Powell trying to get to it. That knocked down by Diarra. Battle forward on the far touchline. That goes out of bounds. Throw in. Jekyll with it. Knocked away. Launched by Samaha. High up in the air. Headed back over. As racing over Karsh has it. Karsh on the near wing. That goes out of bounds. Karsh trying to get to it. 12 seconds left. Huron with the throw in. 1-1 is our score. Offside stopping a fantastic scoring chance for Pioneer. That ball sent ahead. And that will do it. So it ends up Pioneer 1, Huron 1. Again, Pioneer will be next in action. The Pioneer women's varsity soccer team will be next in action over at Skyline. That will be on the 7th. That is a 12:30 game this Saturday. We will be back in action tomorrow. We'll be here at Hallway Field for the Pioneer men's varsity lacrosse senior night. So come on out to Hallway Field tomorrow and watch the Pioneer men's lacrosse team take on the Huron River Rats. The goals, Brown had a goal for Pioneer, that at the 34-minute mark in the first. And at the 29-minute mark, it was a goal by Harris to tie it up, and that is 1-1. Thank you very much, everyone. For my camera person, Christina Wiseman, our director, James Wiseman, this is Mark Wiseman. Thank you, and have a great night.